Welcome to the At Home Podcast. My name is Bernie Minnis, and the vision behind these podcasts is to inspire families to take a deeper dive into family discipleship, inside and outside the walls of our church, but especially inside the walls of their home and in their communities. So today with us, we have Steve and Lauren Stone. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, Bernie. Good. How are you?
Doing awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourselves and your family, please, if you wouldn't mind. Kick it off.
Yeah, we're both transplants, moved here 2006, and we've been kind of at Southeast since then. We've got 3 boys, 11, 8, and 13. And yeah, we serve in children's ministry. I don't know.
Thank you, Steve. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's fine.
Well, I did a little sneaky background check on you guys, and so I asked somebody that knows you to give me 3 words. Did they tell you?
No.
Oh, good. Because I wanted it to be a surprise. 3 words that describe you guys, and the first word I got was connectors. They said you guys are so good at connecting people that are in need, but also just connecting people with other people. Faithful. I said you guys are both so faithful, and I love seeing your reaction to that. And then lastly, that you guys are servants, that you guys have that heart of wanting to serve others. And then I did get a bonus one, and it was deeply loved and loving. So apparently I asked the right person, because those are amazing qualities, and so that's what they chose to describe you guys. So
thank you for that. What a gift.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who it is later on.
Okay.
So let's dive into today's conversation. Mm-hmm. So we want to have a conversation centered around camp. Camping is an amazing time for kids. Life change happens at camp. And so we want to hear about your experiences with the different camps that you've been a part of, both as parents, but also as leaders. And so tell me a little bit about your camp experience.
Yeah. Well, I grew up going to church camp. It was easily the highlight of every year for me. I grew up super rural, and so being able to go to camp and get away and be with other Christians and adults who weren't necessarily like from my home church, that meant a lot to me. When I was in high school, I worked at camp, and then in college, worked on camp teams for my school. I have always loved camp. I think a big part of that was that there were adults who could teach me things that I wasn't learning in other places. Like, it was so focused and so meaty. And so you got to be there with other kids who were Christians and who were learning that too, and kind of like singularly focused, but that those lessons were transformative. Like, I was excited to take those home and go apply what I had learned.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. What about you, Steve?
I grew up not going to church camp, and so only when in ministry starting to do camps. And it I really wish that I did it when I was a kid, because it's so much fun. You get on this high of everything that's going on and emotions and meeting people and connecting, and I don't know, I just really enjoy it and wish I would have done it as a kid.
Yeah.
I love doing it now.
So speaking of kids, you got your 3 boys.
Yeah.
And so from a parent perspective, what has camp done for them from your perspective? Like, how has camp been impactful or meaningful to your boys?
Yeah. One of the best things it's done is they come home with such a sense of confidence. They are with a group of people that maybe they want to be with or don't know quite well. And so they come in with these brand new friendships. And then also, because of the teaching and worship is so condensed, they come back away from that with much more than they would on like a regular weekend or something like that.
Yeah.
I was going to say the exact same thing. Our 13-year-old, when he went to middle school camp for the first time, I was really I felt intimidated for him about what was going to happen and who he was going to meet or what that was going to be like. And he just came home on fire.
Yeah.
Like, he had grown so much in confidence and like, oh, I can go and I can talk to other kids now. And he felt more equipped to share his faith. And then coming home with those big nuggets that they had learned, or scripture that they had learned, or something that they had really dived into that they were excited to share with us.
To see him like throw down his backpack after he gets home is like, hey brothers, I got to teach you what I learned. It's like, oh, okay, this is totally worth it.
I love that. Yeah. So Steve, you said something really awesome about your son coming home and wanting to share what he learned. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I think that is a beautiful picture of what we want our kids to do is not only retain something they've learned at camp, but also share that with others. So can you tell a little bit more about that?
I'm trying to remember specifically what last year was, but he was really, really excited about that. And so we do this thing on like Saturdays where we do like a coffee time.
Okay.
That's what we call it. And we do breakfast, and then everybody brings out their Bibles, and it's not every week, but like we pull them out.
Yeah.
And I remember that week he pulled his out, and instead of me, okay guys, let's open up to this and see what we can learn today, he was like, can I do this one? Like I really wanted to share with my brothers what he had learned.
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. How have you seen the impact that your kids have had from attending camp as well?
I think the biggest thing for me has been the depth of our conversations is deeper. They get to have a lot of deeper conversations at camp and ask different questions, and it just sparks different things in their minds. And so they come home and they're excited about it. And then as we're talking about what they learned, or even a couple days or weeks later, something will hit at church that kind of connects with what they heard at camp, and they want to ask questions about it. And then them seeing how connected the Bible is and how all of these stories all kind of go together has been really big. But I think it's just been the kinds of conversations that we have has been a lot deeper.
That's so good. That's so good. So let's flip the roles and let's talk about serving at camp.
Yeah.
You guys have had your fair share of serving at camp before, and so it's beautiful to see the impact that it has on our children. But tell me about how you're impacted by pouring into other children.
Yeah. I love it because you're walking around, and for this short time, you're the leader for these kids. And some of them you may have met for the first time, some may be in your small group at church or whatnot. And at least in elementary and middle school, they are following you around like little ducklings and are so excited on whatever you're going to do. And it seems like every bit of encouragement you give them or every thing that you teach them, I just know from teaching my kids and then teaching these kids are like excited for an adult to pour into their lives that is not their parents.
Yeah.
And we get to be a part of that.
Yeah, I think it's so good you mentioned that, because having that voice that's still going to consistently point them to Jesus is great to have. And sometimes our voice as parents doesn't necessarily get heard all the time, or it'll get referred to later on, as they get older. So that's such a great point to be that extra voice pointing kids to Jesus.
I think kids start to tune out the voices that they hear all the time. And so parents, or even having consistent teachers at church on Sunday morning, I think eventually you're like, oh, I already know what you're going to say. I already know what you think about this. And so having that one other person that can be there that's like, oh yeah, I believe this, or yes, that's true, or I look at it this way, can make a really big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what would you say to parents that are thinking about sending their kids to camp, any of our camps, elementary, middle, high school camp, or even serving at camp? What's something that you would say to them about camp, either way?
I mean, definitely do it. We've seen so much growth. It's what our kids look forward to every year. Just this morning, Levi was telling me, wait, when is my camp? What are the dates? And I'm like, buddy, I don't know. It's the summer. We're still in spring. But he's so excited. And as far as serving, I've made such really good connections that I still have to this day with other leaders and with students from those camps.
I love it. What about you?
Yeah. Serving at camp is like a holy pouring out, right? It is definitely a sacrifice in our physical beings. There's less sleep and there's a little bit of stress of making sure that everybody's together and everybody has what they need. And you're just kind of on what feels like the whole time that you're there. But I also don't know an easier way to make a lasting impact on someone to know Jesus, and not just for that moment, but to follow him for the rest of their lives, right? The latest Barna research says that what makes faith stickiest for kids who are going away to college is if they had an adult in their life when they were growing up that that was pouring into them consistently, was like a friend to them that was showing them Jesus. And so I don't think there's a better way to make an impact for eternity with 4 days of time than to go to camp.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so good. One thing I'm going to take with me, well, I'm taking a lot of things with me, but one thing I'm going to take with me, you made that comment earlier about being able to learn something in a different place, right? And I think camp is that place where kids can learn so much better, free from distractions and things like that. So thank you guys for serving. Thank you for being such faithful parents, but also servants in the kingdom. And
Thanks, Bernie.
Thank you.